Welcome, everyone. This is Brother Doug. I'm with my sister Shoshana. Our brother Dennis is with us today, and we're going to be doing a study called The Whole Law Should Be Observed, not just the top 10, which most people, they'll claim that, that's to be observed as Yahuwah's eternal law, and that's his only law. And so we're gonna really dive into scripture and show you how that's not the case. That the whole law is to be observed. So just be patient with me real quick. I clicked on the wrong document by mistake. Here we go. All right. So the whole law is to be observed, not only the top 10. I'll be starting us off in Deuteronomy here. So I'll be reading Deuteronomy chapter 29, verses 18 to 21. I'll be reading from the English Septuagint translation here. So Deuteronomy 29, verses 18 to 21 here. And let me just get my place mark here. All right, click on that. Brenton's, here we go. It says, "Lest there be among you man or woman or family or tribe whose heart has turned aside from Yahuwah your Elohim, having gone to serve the deities of these nations, lest there be in you a root springing up with gall and bitterness." That's interesting because that's what Yahusha took for us. So that's kind of interesting. He took the gall, the disgusting, vinegar and all that on the steak. So that's a kind of interesting connection there. "And it shall be, if one shall hear the words of this curse," so again, Yahusha took the curse for us. He didn't take away the law. "And shall flatter himself in his heart, saying, Let tube happen to me, for I will walk in the error of my heart, lest the sinner destroy the guiltless with him." And so basically saying, unless if you do this, you go in the error of your own heart, you listen to your human heart, which is wicked, you can find in the book of Jeremiah. Don't listen to your own heart. Basically, you will be destroyed with the lawless, with the sinner. So you being Yahuwah's children of Yahusha, if we go away from Yahuwah Almighty, then we're going to be destroyed like the sinner. That's basically what it's saying right there. So that's verse 19. Verse 20 says, "Yahuwah shall by no means be willing to pardon him." This is key here. Pardon, forgive him. "But then the wrath of Yahuwah and his jealousy shall flame out against that man, and all the curses of this covenant." There's only one covenant. "Shall attach themselves to him, which are written in this book." So the book and the covenant are one and the same. This is important to see here in Deuteronomy 29. "Which are written in this book." What? The book of the law. The book of the law of Moses. The book of the law of Yahuwah. "And Yahuwah shall blot out his name from under heaven," being blotted out from the book of life. So that was Deuteronomy chapter 29, verses 18 to 20. And 21 is the last verse here. "And Yahuwah shall separate that man for evil of all the children of Yashrael according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in the book of this law." So the book of the law cannot be separate from the book of the covenant because the book of the law is within the covenant. That's what it's saying here in verse 21. I want to make that clear for any viewers and listeners here. Okay, verse 21 is key. If you don't, soak in anything what we go through today, soak in this verse.
Could you put it on the share screen?
Yeah, it should be on the shared screen.
It's not.
Maybe let me put it back on here. For some reason, I don't know, my shared screen pauses from time to time. So Deuteronomy 29:21 from the Brenton's English Septuagint says, "And Yahuwah shall separate that man," meaning the man that went away by listening to his human heart and going away from serving Yahuwah, serve the imaginations of his own heart, "for evil of all the children of Yashrael, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in the book of this law." So the book of the law is part of the covenant. It's not separated. It's actually within that covenant. So that I wanted to make an example out of that, and let's go. Whoops, I keep opening the wrong window there. All right, here we go. So now we're going to Deuteronomy chapter 30. So the next chapter here, verse 10, I will be reading of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 10. So we're going to go right here to 30, verse 10. Just let me know if my shared screen is not showing the right stuff.
Yeah,
right.
we're on it.
If you will hearken to the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim, your Elohim, to keep his commandments and his ordinances and his judgments, so the law of Moshe equals the law of Yahuwah, if you're not getting that connection yet. It's one and the same. And his judgments written in the book of this law. If you turn to Yahuwah, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your spirit, that's part of the Ten Commandments. So one of the Ten Commandments is to basically what he's trying to say, to serve him with all your heart and all your being, all your spirit. You have to keep all these commandments and ordinances and right rulings that are written in the whole book of the law. So if you forsake the other commandments of the law, you're breaking actually the first greatest commandment, if that makes any sense. That's what this verse is saying. Basically, you are to keep his ordinances, judgments written in the book of this law, if you turn to Yahuwah with all your heart and all your being. So you can't worship Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, mind, spirit, and strength without keeping the commandments of the book of the law, basically. If you try to do that, you're actually going to break the greatest commandment. So let's see here. Deuteronomy 31, 24 to 26 says, 31, 24 to 26. Here we go. So Deuteronomy chapter 31, verses 24 to 26 says, and when Moshe finished writing all the words of this law, again, this law, there's only one law, in a book, even to the end, so all the words of the law, then he charged the Levites who bear the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, saying, take the book of this law, and you shall put it in the side of the ark of the covenant. Very, very coincidental that the Masoretes would say beside. Oh, okay. No, the Masoretes actually put it here inside, in the side of the Ark of the Covenant. So it's in the Ark of the Covenant. So again, it's not being separated. A lot of people want to use this verse to say, oh, it's separate from the covenant. If you actually read it carefully here, it says, take the book of this law and you shall put it in the side of the Ark of the Covenant, meaning that it's in there with the tablets of Yahuwah your Elohim, and it shall be there among you for a witness, basically a witness against us. For I know your provocation, meaning I know you're very provoking, and your stiff neck. For yet during my life with you at this day you have been provoking in your conduct toward Yahuwah. How shall yet not also be so after my death? So basically saying this is a witness against the original Israelites because they kept being stiff-necked, just like we are at times. All humans are stiff-necked to a point. He's basically saying this is to remind you to keep everything written in the book of the law. So the book of the law is right beside the tablets of stone. I would infer from verse 26 here that it's actually, on verse 27, it's actually literally in the Ark of the Covenant.
Next to the law.
Like next to the tablets of stone, Sister Shoshana was bringing up. So it's literally right next to it in the Ark, not outside beside the Ark, like people like Matthew Nolan want to misinterpret that verse. So
you may want to mention what Ron Wyatt found and where the tablets are now.
Yep. So Sister Shoshana actually mentioned to me a video the other day that we all watched It's the Ark of the Covenant found by this Seventh-day Adventist named Ron Wyatt, and I'll share this video in the comments section when this is uploaded. Oh, whoops, not Wyatt, my bad.
W-Y-A-T-T, I believe.
Yeah, there we go. I had it saved in the search bar. Yeah, so basically this, and I believe it's the one that is, what is it? The blood and the discovery of the Ark of the Covenant. So it's an animated version of the original documentary did, and I'll give you guys the link in the description and in the comments if you don't see it in the description when I upload our study. So basically what happened was he found the blood of Yahusha that ran down from the stake that he was impaled on, the tree that he was hung on. It dripped onto the Ark of the Covenant.
On the mercy seat.
On the mercy seat. So, you know, where you have the cherubim covering the mercy seat, and it's supposed to be a copy of what's in the heavenlies. And that's basically what Satan was. Anyone that doesn't know that. Satan was originally the covering cherub spoken of in Ezekiel 28. So that originally, before he fell, was his duty. He was to cover Yahuwah's true mercy seat in the highest heaven. And what happened, so Ron Wyatt actually found the copy of that, the Ark of the Covenant, that was Yahusha's blood actually touched the Ark of the Covenant, on the mercy seat on the Ark of the Covenant, and he revealed this to the state of Israel.
So it was quite a bit of, he said there was a pool of his blood on it.
Oh, wow, a pool of his blood. So that's like a lot of it. That's probably like all of it. Probably all of it went on to there, that when he was being pierced and with the nails in his
hands and feet,
that all of that dripped down to the mercy.
Ron Wyatt had the blood analyzed by a local lab in Israel, and they came out with only 24 chromosomes. Now, you and I have 46 chromosomes because we get 23 from our mother and 23 from our father. And we have an X from our mother and either an X or a Y from our father. He got one Y chromosome from Father Yahweh, and the rest from his mother. He got the 23 from his mother that was all he needed to have a physical body, and all of the characteristics he obtained were from her side of the family. And so it's just very interesting. He says this plus the 2 stones with the commandments written on them will be seen when the mark of the beast is given. And that is very interesting because I believe we're quite close to that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, what I wanted you to mention was the fact that the 4 angels, there were 4 angels guarding the Ark of the Covenant, and there still are. They lifted up the mercy seat, which weighed 900 pounds of solid gold. The angels did this, and Ron was told to pick up the 2 tablets of stone, and he picked them up, and he photographed them. He had his camera on a tripod and photographed them just like that, and handed them back to one of the angels, who set them up on a shelf in that room. So the angels set them on the shelf, and they also arranged the furniture, all the furniture that had been in the original temple on earth in their proper places. So at some time in the future, all this will be revealed. Just a little sideline.
Yeah, it's very important because it ties into what we just read about the that the book of the law and the covenant and the tablets of stone were in there beside together. So,
Yes.
which means that you can't separate the 10 commandments on the 2 tablets of stone from the rest of the law, which is part of today's study. So these are the cross references I just read for anyone that just came along and missed the first tiny little part of our study. So I'm going to allow my sister Shoshana now to take her part in the study and read Yahusha, aka Joshua, chapter 1, verse 7 to 8.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
I thought it was verse 6.
I believe it's verse 7 to 8. Let me just check. But I believe it. Yeah, it's chapter 1, verse 7 to 8. I have it typed up here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The next one is verse 6. Okay. I will read verses 7 and 8. And I'm reading from the Hallelujah Scriptures. And you shall be very strong. Now that's 6. So as to not go in among these nations, these who remain among you, and you make no mention of the name of their mighty ones, nor swear by, nor serve them, nor bow down to them, but cling to Yahuwah your Elohim, as you have done to this day. So that kind of reiterates, make the first commandment, which have no other mighty one but Yahuwah.
Yep. And this, I wanted to reiterate, this is an actual commandment you will not find in the tablets of stone. The first commandment that he's talking about is do not go in among them. This is a later commandment that's spoken of by the Father of the descendants of Canaan who were tainted. They were giant breeds. So you had a remnant of the giants that most of them were destroyed in the flood, but you still had that seed of the serpent being carried on, unfortunately, after the flood. And that's why Yahuwah says don't make covenants among them. There's other parts in Deuteronomy where it talks about don't make covenants with them, don't intermarry with them. And Shushan just read where it says here, do not go in them. This is referring to actual marriage. I think this is like hinting to intermarry, because usually, sometimes in scripture, when it says do not go into, usually it's, kind of like Genesis 6:4. They wanted to go into the women, the daughters of men. So this is it's a weird old English phrase, but into something can also mean intercourse, not to make it sound all nasty, but that's like an old English phrase. Like going into something can mean, also, a man and a woman, a man going into a woman. So I might be reading too much into it, but I think it's also talking about a commandment you won't find in the 2 tablets of stone. I just want to mention that. And that the second part you'll find in the 10 commandments, not to have any other mighty one. So I just wanted to mention that. See here. So I think that,
Pause for a minute.
yeah, sure.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, here we go. All right, we're back. I'm going to have Sister Shoshana continue from that chapter. So here we go. She just read Yahusha chapter 1, verse 6. Now she's about to read verses 7 to 8.
I'm going to read Yahusha chapter 1, verses 7 and 8,
Yeah.
and then read chapter 23, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Only be strong and very courageous to guard to do according to all the Torah, which Moshe my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it right or left, so that you act wisely wherever you go. And do not let this book of the Torah depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you guard to do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous and act wisely. Now I'm going to read Yahusha 23, verse 6. And you shall be very strong to guard and to do all that is written in the book of the Torah of Moshe, so as not to turn aside from it right or left. It just reiterates that. So all of the 5 books of Moshe are absolutely to be done.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so let's see here. Is there any more here from Yahusha?
24.
Yeah, let me see here. I think there's one, yeah, from 20.
Yahusha 24, verse 26.
Yep. Yep. And after that, I'll give it to Sally after that.
Okay, this one's mine. Verse 26.
Mm-hmm.
Then Yahusha wrote these words in the book of the Torah of Elohim, and he took a large stone and put it up there under the oak that was by the Mikdash of Yahuwah. And I think I should go on. And Yahusha said to all the people, see, this stone is a witness for us, for it has heard all the words of Yahuwah, which he spoke to us, and it shall be a witness against you, lest you lie against your Elohim. Then Yahusha sent the people away, each to his own inheritance.
Yeah, and just a little note, probably if they were being more accurate with verse 26, these translations, they should have Yahuwah here and not Elohim or Elohim. Yeah, this is where the tradition comes in. We talk about all the time the tradition of replacing Tetragrammaton with a text. And this is a case of the translator purposely putting Elohim there instead of Yahuwah. So it should say, and Yahusha wrote these words in verse 26 in the book of the law of Yahuwah, not Elohim or Elohim. So just for the people to study for themselves, and it even says in the second part of the verse it uses the Tetragrammaton, so it's kind of weird. Mm-hmm. And they want to pick and choose here. So it should say the law of Yahuwah, and took a great stone and set it up under an oak that was by the set apart place, the Mikdash of Yahuwah. So that's what Sister Shoshana just read, and we're going to go to Sister Sally now, and I'll give her what she's about to read. She is going to start a couple cross-references here from Nehemiah. First, let's start in numerical order here. Sally, if you can, please read Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 1.
Yes, just a moment here.
Okay, no problem.
And turn on your video so they can see you.
Let's see here.
Might want to mention that that stone by itself was a witness that we should all be obeying all of the Torah.
Yep.
The reason it was in our reading today.
Yeah, the stone represents a witness with them, just like the heaven and earth is a witness for them, which we're going to read later in this study. When we get to the Brit Hadashah part of these cross-references, you'll see that heaven and earth was a witness, and that's why Yahusha mentioned it in Matthew 5.
Yeah, heaven and earth were mentioned in Deuteronomy as well as a witness to us.
Yeah.
Whether we would live or die.
Yeah. The Baraka and the curse. So
yeah.
Anyone that's listening in, you can look that up for yourself. I believe it's Deuteronomy, 29? Or
28.
28. Yeah, Deuteronomy 28. That's right. So Deuteronomy 28 has through the whole chapter, you'll see all the barakas and the curses. If you look it up for yourself, you'll have Yahuwah goes verbatim of every curse possible that happens when you break the Torah, and every baraka that he gives you when you do obey him.
When
Like,
you do obey, yeah.
like one of the most obvious ones you see in Scripture a lot is He lengthens physically your years upon this earth. That's like the most basic one of the Barak, as you'll see with the whole genealogies of Adam to Noah.
Honor your father and mother that your days may be long in the land.
Yeah, and that's another commandment that's actually not in the tablets. That would be in the book of the law. It
And
does.
so many of this generation, and I'm not talking about you, Doug, but there are many of your peers that do not honor that.
Yeah.
They do not honor it. They do not honor us as parents.
Yeah, I mean, I can't act like I'm perfect that I've never done it before, but at least when I did it, I was not converted yet, and I was part of the world, and I didn't know any better. So, I was never really instructed in the Torah. Christian upbringing, for anyone that's listening, I had a very, very evangelical ministry type of Christian Protestant upbringing. So it was very New Testament oriented, not much the law oriented. So that's part of why I've made mistakes like that in my upbringing, and I kind of was deceived into a carnal type of faith.
Well, my son was brought up in the Old Testament, that he was brought up to keep the law, and he does not honor me.
Yeah, that's.
I think you do well now. I think it would be best not to go back and think about the days before.
Yeah. I only do it to kind of remind myself to not be so harsh on other people, because I remember where I'm coming from, and just trying to keep myself humble. But yeah, it's true not to bring up the past, not to think about the past. Yahuwah himself says that in the book of Isaiah. So I should work on that. Sister Sally, are you ready? Are you at Nehemiah 8?
The first one I show that you gave me was Nehemiah 13:1.
Well, we're gonna just do it numerically in orders.
Oh, let her do it however she wants it.
Whatever. If you want to do
That's
chapter
all right.
13 first, that's fine.
I can do 8:1. Just a moment. I just have to. Okay.
Yep.
And is that a guitar, or what is that we're looking at on your screen?
A guitar.
Well, it looks like a guitar, sort of.
Hold
I
on.
don't have anything like that here. I'm sorry, you
Oh,
said.
it's a lamp. It's a lamp. That's what it is.
Yeah,
It was
that's
the bottom of
Sister Sally's.
Face.
Excuse me, I can try to stand you up here, but it's my phone.
Yeah, there we go.
My phone has the opening to put it on the charger is on the very bottom, and makes it hard for me to stand the phone upright. It's not going to stand up right by itself very well. I'll try it. Okay, so we are going to do Nehemiah 13:1.
Yeah, if you want to start with that, that's cool.
Okay, just a moment here. Or did you say second? Which one did you tell me to do first?
Just do it. Do all three. Do all of the Nehemiah verses.
Yeah, do all of Nehemiah first, but if you want, you can start at 13:1 and then just do the others, the other Nehemiahs. We'll just do all Nehemiahs first. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Nehemiah 8:1. Just 1 second here.
For people that don't know the context of this chapter Sister Sally's about to read, right here in the East Sword, they give you headers that are really very informative here. So it says Ezra reads the law. So Ezra's about to re-give the book of the law to the people. So that's what Sister
Yeah.
Sally's about to read. This is the timeline of King Cyrus and all that, and tells them to go back to the land after the 70 years of Daniel. So this is the timeline. So
Ezra was asked by Yahuwah to rewrite the law because it had been lost. I believe it was burned.
yeah, it was burned in the days of Jeremiah, if I'm not mistaken. The whole scriptures, like all the commandments of Genesis all the way up to, I think it was Genesis to Joshua. It was Genesis to, I think, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Numbers, and Joshua. Yeah, the first 5 books of scripture. First 6 books.
The Babylonians or the Medes and Persians?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
No, it wasn't the Medes and the Persians yet, because this was before they even went into captivity that the stuff started.
Okay, so it must have been the Babylonians.
Yeah, it was either the Babylonians or no, it was actually the wicked king of Yehuda that was doing it. Jeremiah was getting them to repent.
Zedekiah.
Yeah, Zedekiah. He had Jeremiah in prison. Jeremiah was put in prison because he was telling people to repent and telling people to go back to the Torah, and that king of Yehuda actually was burning the scriptures. And
Isn't that wicked?
yeah,
Their own
so,
king had them burning the scriptures. So he deserved what happened to him.
oh yeah, that's why Yahuwah had Nebuchadnezzar kill him and his family. Yeah,
He was killed, and all of his sons were killed. All of his male relatives and his family gone, and the only people left were 2 sisters.
Yep.
And that were actually his daughters, and they were taken by Jeremiah to the British Isles. But that's another story.
Yeah. So let's see
Sally,
here.
are you ready?
Yep.
Yes, I'm ready. Now, this is Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 1. Now all the people gathered together as one man in the open square that was in front of the water gate, and they told Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moshe, which Yahuwah had commanded Yasarel.
Yeah.
You want me to go ahead and read a little more? Or?
Yeah, sure, if you want. Yeah, actually, yeah, I think that would be helpful to the audience. Yeah, we could, let's see.
Sure.
I'm thinking about, stop at like, I would say verse 7. You could stop at verse 7. That would be enough.
Okay. So Ezra the priest, I'm sorry, my phone just isn't going to stand up because of the plug-in is on the side of the bottom.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to-
try like a water bottle or a cup or something to stand it up against, possibly. That's what I usually do. I usually use like something that you could use as a kickstand.
That's a great idea. See if this box is clear.
Yeah, either that or anything that's like really sturdy to stand it up against. So you just read verse 1. Now you're at verse 2 here.
Yes, this hopefully will be a little better here.
So verse 2 that Sally's about to read says Ezra is a priest.
Yes. So Ezra the priest brought the law before the congregation of men and women and all who could hear with understanding on the first day of the 7th month. How far would you like me to read?
Stop at like verse 7.
The first day of the 7th month, that was Yom Teruah.
Yep, so this is trumpets, I believe.
Feast of Trumpets, yes.
Okay, now since you're doing these not in the same order you gave them to me, or do you want me to start now with the order?
No, you could continue to verse 7, and then we'll get to the other 2 cross references from Nehemiah. But
sure.
I want the people to get some context from what we're reading here.
Yes, this is speaking of the Feast of Trumpets. So verse 3 to read like this. Then he read from it in the open square that was in front of the water gate from morning until midday before the men and women and those who could understand, and the ears of all the people were attentive to the book of the law. So he read it for about 6 hours. So Ezra the scribe stood on a platform of wood, which they had made for the purpose, and beside him at his right hand stood Mattithiah, Shema, Ananiah, Uriah, Hilkiah, and Maaseiah. I don't know how you say that.
Maaseiah, I think. Maaseiah.
Yes, that sounds right. Maaseiah. And at his left hand, Pedaiah, Mishael,
Mishaal, probably, yeah. Mishaal, yeah.
Hashum, I don't know. Hashbadana, Zechariah, and Meshullam. And Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people, for he was standing above all the people. And when he opened it, all the people stood up. And Ezra praised and baraked Yahuwah, the great Elohim. Then all the people answered,
So be it.
So be it. So be it. While lifting up their hands, and they bowed their heads and worshipped Yahuwah with their faces to the ground. Also Yeshua, Benai, Sherebiah, Yamin, Akab, Shabbathai, Hodiah, Maaseiah, Aya, Kelida, Azariah, Yozabad, or Yozabad, Hanan, Paliah, and the Levites helped the people to understand the law, and the people stood in their place. So they read distinctly from the book in the law of Elohim, and they gave the sense and helped them to understand the reading.
And we should add our names to the list.
Yeah. Just before we get cut off here, we got like less than a minute. Yeshua
Family of Shoshana.
Yeshua is definitely a mistranslation there. It should be Yahusha. Unfortunately, they translate Yeshua there where it's supposed to be Yahusha.